Well, last week, Sascoc unveiled a formidable team of 15 athletes who will represent Team South Africa at the upcoming Para-Athletics World Championships in Kobe, Japan, from the 17th to the 25th of May. Among them is World 100-meter T44 champion Mpumelelo Mhlongo. He joins us now to speak about the upcoming championships and his road to Paris. A very good evening and welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Good to be chatting to you once again. You're part of the Bidvest OPEX program that helps to support athletes to ensure that they are on the right track to get to the Games. How important has this been in your journey to date?
Thank you for having me, Vaylen. Always good to see you. I think Bidvest OPEX program just allows you to have the requisite support so that you don't have to stress about anything than being in the kitchen and cooking. And as an athlete, all you want to do is wake up every day, ensure that you're executing the training in the same way that you're going to execute when you're lining up at a 100-meter final, when you're lining up for the shot put final. And with that program in mind, it just gives also development athletes an idea of what to look forward to. And that combination is why we out here represent the green and gold.
But you yourself are not just focused on sport because you've also got a full-time, high-powered job as a PhD graduate. You're currently working at Investec. So how exactly do you manage all of this as well as competing at the top level?
I think the big thing is that I got advice long time ago, which is you can't be everything at the same time. So a large part of balance is actually knowing when to let go of certain responsibilities, and we prioritize accordingly. So our training regime is exactly that. We know that this is a heavy part of the season where we really need the energy and the mental space. So then I'll ask for some time off at work. And when I can tell my training team that, listen, work really requires me to focus in on the clients and the strategizing that we need for the next financial year. So then they'll lay off in terms of the responsibilities. And then you just ebb and flow because we're still young and we're still able to do it.
Tell us how significant winning that gold medal at the World Championships last year was for you.
I think that's an emotional one. Last year, I got married, let go of myself to enjoy my time with my wife. So we weren't expecting any major performances. And then as soon as we got excited to say, oh, wait, we may have gotten away with a lot here because the form is there, the speed is there. 2 weeks before, we then tore our hamstring. And you look back as an athlete, you say, well, that serves me right for not preparing the way I need to. So very emotional. I had my wife in the stands, had my friends in the stands, and I'm just grateful that we're able to bring back some silverware for South Africa.
Does that now amend how you usually approach major competitions?
It definitely does not. I think that was a once-off. And we've been, since that day, preparing very hard for the upcoming Paris Paralympic Games. We're in the form of our lives, and now it's just to see what the body is able to do for Kobe in Japan in May. And then hopefully we'll have a European season to sharpen up whatever we need to.
Just how difficult is it to have two major peaks in the year, because you've got World Championships now where you're going to be defending your world title over 100 meters. But then you've also got to consider that just less than 3 months later, you've actually got the Paralympic Games, the big one in Paris.
I think it's a focus mechanism. We actually don't see the World Championships as a peak per se, because if you look at my season, it'll be my season opener, and nobody opens on a major peak. And what my coach has said is that we're not in it to defend any titles this year other than to go get the Paralympic title. And once your focus is there and your determination, what happens in between doesn't really matter.
You mentioned the Paralympic gold being the major focus because you've been world record holder over 100, over 200, over long jump. So there are a number of different events where you've been the world record holder, world champion in the 100 meters. But at the Paralympic Games, the last one, it was 2 fifth places in long jump and 100.
So that has eluded us thus far. And we think that it's just we haven't been prepping in 4-year cycles. And obviously with COVID being a major factor from our 2019 into the 2021 season, we weren't prepared for that. And it was more about livelihood than anything. So we gave my family and friends the time that was needed at the time. And this time we're able to be a bit more selfish as we hopefully say goodbye, and this will be the last one. So a swan song with everything that we have.
So after the Games, you're going to be retiring?
That's the plan. So retirement is on the cards. I think that we've had 3 Paralympic Games, which has been a good haul. And I want to utilize my time to create more Paralympians. And so that my story is not a one-off story, but it becomes common in the communities I grew up in.
So the Paralympic Games have always, South Africa has always enjoyed a lot of success from our Paralympic athletes. Where do you see that it currently is? You mentioned making sure that there is a future for Paralympic sports in the country. Where do you see disabled sport currently?
I think disabled sports has really taken a knock. We've had a lot of people who've represented us that have, I would say, retired too early, before there's been a new wave of para-athletes across all sporting codes. And there has been a concerted effort to ensure that doesn't happen. And that can be seen in the youngsters that have come up even in the last World Championships. And I just want to be a part of that solution. That's all it is. And everything has a season. And currently we are in a season where we don't have enough para-athletes in the international stage. And hopefully by 2028 in Los Angeles, that will be different.
The thing when it comes to disabled sport is that also as an entire arm of sport, it's also globally progressed and evolved quite significantly over the last 20, 30 years.
It has, and you've had countries that have put in a lot of investment to ensure that internationally they're competitive. But the continent is different. We suffer from very different issues and very different solutions that we need to employ. And it's just about getting that balance. And I feel as though if more of the retired athletes that have been to that international stage come to the party, then hopefully we'll see the sporting community in the international stage making headlines again. And if that doesn't happen, and all sports is a motivating factor for our youth to get out of bed, that is not the worst thing to happen in this world.
Absolutely. Mpumelelo Mhlongo is the World 100-meter T44 champion. He's also one of the finalists for the South African Sportsman of the Year with a Disability, and he keeps on mentioning us because his coach, Jason Suonyana, who also happens to be one of the nominees for SA Coach of the Year at the upcoming South African Awards, is one of the finalists there. Thank you so much for your time and for coming into Newzroom Afrika. And that's how we come to the end of your sport in this hour. Your headlines are next. Do stay with us.